Hello everybody, my name is Brock, and I'm sure you're wondering, where have I been? It's been a long time since I've made a video and uploaded, but there's a good reason for that, and it's because I have fled to London. So what am I doing in London? Well, I am here to attend the championships at Wimbledon. But Brock, you don't play tennis, nor have you expressed an interest in playing tennis. What gives? Well, I am here to assist in the creation of graphics and materials for broadcast while the championship is being aired. So I get to be here for 2 weeks on the grounds, and it has been a very challenging but very unique experience. I wanted to do something that was going to stir my creative, stir the creative wheels. That's not even a good metaphor. Clearly something needed stirring, and so I thought that coming here would help expose me to some new experiences when it comes to work. Most of my time is creating graphics for broadcast, but in my spare time, I'm usually here in this lovely little garden next to this lovely little house where I can do some reading. Like any eager traveler, I brought way too many books with me. The first book is Midnight Riot by Ben Aaronovitch, also known as Rivers of London, which I think is a way better title because it's actually reflective of the characters and events of the book. The title Midnight Riot also applies, but feels like a much smaller time segment of events that happen in the book. There is a riot. Spoilers. It is about Constable Peter Grant, who works for the London Police Service, and he very quickly gets caught up in supernatural happenings and goings-on. This lands him under the tutelage of an overseer named Nightingale, who is part of their supernaturally crimes division guy. But he's also like there's only just the one guy, and now Peter's coming into a scenario, and now there's like two guys who explore all the supernatural stuff. It's their job to just enforce order, investigate crimes as they happen, and whatnot. I've already finished this book, and it was very, very fun. It was a great way to start sort of the summer reading pile with something that was very, very fun and lighthearted, even though there's quite a lot of gruesome death in it. The murders are brutal and there's guts, but it's a good read. Next on the list is Of Sand and Malice Made by Bradley P. Beaulieu, and this is a really fantastic novella. It is the continuation of 12 Kings in Sherakai, or rather no, it is a prequel to 12 Kings in Sherakai. Shada, the main character, is a young girl who is trying to depose the kings of Sherakai, and in this prequel, we get none of that. But we do get a fun adventure where she comes across a supernatural being known as a thing I'm not going to try bother pronouncing. This prequel, this novella, has like a full story in it. Like I'd almost say there are actually 3 full stories in this, and it is immensely satisfying. So in the first one you have Shada, who comes across this supernatural creature that wants to leech memories for sustenance, and Shada is opposed to this because it means that some of the secrets that she harbors, some of her agenda, her agenda to take out the 12 Kings of Sherakai, will be exposed. This being will take memories and actually share them with other people, and that is uncomfortable enough on its own, but it also means that she will be, her plan will be exposed, and that's a terrible thing. But there are 3 stories that take place over 3 different time periods involving her interactions with this creature. And Bradley P. Beaulieu's writing is top-notch in this. It is also a great way to get back into his series if you have a big gap in between book 1 and book 2. Like I read 12 Kings in Sherakai, and I want to read the next book, which I actually have here. But it had been about a year, so I thought, you know what, I need to pick this up so I can refresh myself on the story. And it is not only a great story, it is a great refresher. Next up is Artificial Condition by Martha Wells, book 2 in the Murderbot Diaries. I don't need to say much about Murderbot. It's about a robot who murders, or, well, who isn't very good at murdering. And the first book, All Systems Red, was it's just a fantastic novella. It's one of those. It's very funny. It's very witty. It's also got a very nice emotional core to it. Murderbot is a fascinating character because did I say she? I treat Murderbot as a female. I don't know if that's the impression that I get when I read the books, but Murderbot is basically this military, cybernetic robot thing that is supposed to kill and provide security and that kind of thing. But this robot is a little more self-aware, than that, and so ends up watching a lot of TV shows and has their own perspective of the world that they kind of keep hidden from everybody else. It isn't really known that Murderbot is sentient and aware to the degree that they think. Murderbot has lots of interesting observations about the world around Murderbot. The next is Blackout by Connie Willis. This is a time travel story set during World War II and the London Blitz. A bunch of time travelers find themselves caught in somewhat unusual circumstances when they time travel back. My understanding is that they end up stuck there for a bit. They can't do their usual get back home thing. The details are still pretty vague. I'm very early into this thing, but Connie Willis's writing is fantastic. It's a lot more light-hearted than I thought it was going to be. The attention to historical detail seems incredibly high because there's lots of descriptions, and while you might think that the narrative would be shoved aside by a lot of historical facts being presented, they actually work really well here. They're entwined in such a way that the historical stuff is very interesting, but also relevant to what it is the characters are doing at that moment. This was a gift from like a year ago from Katie Loves to Read, and I am ashamed that it's taken me so long to get to this. I've had a trend where I just have not read the books that I've wanted to read lately, but this is one that I am so glad I'm reading right now, and that I'm so glad that I'm here reading it right now. Next on my TBR is 6 Wakes by Mur Lafferty, the author with the coolest name. 6 Wakes is about 6 clones who wake up on a spaceship and they find that there's also 6 bodies of their previous clones also dead on the spaceship. And so this will be kind of like a mystery, psychological thing with some spaciness going on. What I love about this is that the premise just seems really cool. This may also be an airplane read on the ride home. And lastly I have With Blood Upon the Sand by Bradley P. Beaulieu. 12 Kings and Shirakai, the first book, is one of the most powerful fantasy books that I've read in the past while. I loved everything about it, and it is not only just incredibly well written, but it is one of the most fun adventures I have read in a long time. And I have waited too long to read With Blood Upon the Sand, and it is my hope that over the week left that I have here, that I'm going to be starting this thing. I want to see what happens to Shada now that she is... I cannot say anything about the end of the first book. Darn it. Shada's journey needs to go onward, and it does, and that's exciting. So that's my TBR pile while I am here. I'm going to go and try and see some sights today, and we'll hopefully have some more to tell you about that later. Anyways, have a wonderful time. Goodbye.